and the longer you take to hit record, the longer you have to cut through.
It's going.
Okay.
Right. 3, 2, 1.
Hello, and welcome to the Pixel Venture Podcast. I'm Jake.
And I'm Corey.
And I woke up to a fucking drill today.
So, would you like to give more details, or is that all you want to give? Because I can at least tell what I heard.
I can give all the details in the world, baby.
Okay, I have that picture. I'm gonna put it up right here. This is what Jake woke up to.
Now, I'm going to get even a little bit before this thing happened. Like, I went into I had a little bit I want to do for this episode, for this recording.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I had a topic I want to talk about and just kind of spring forward, introduce it when you're like, oh, welcome to the Pixel Venture Podcast, I'm Corey, and I would have jumped in with this bit you wouldn't have known about. But I can't do that because I woke up to a drill, and that's way more important than the stupid bit I wanted to do.
All right, well, so explain the drill stuff, and then I can pretend to do the intro, and you can interrupt with the bit. How does that sound?
Good. So
it's more editing for me, so it's whatever.
So let me walk you through the timeline of what happened today. Now, this happened on Wednesday, right? Last Wednesday before this goes up. Now, I usually wake up for class around 11, right? I'm out. I'm out by 11:30 to get to my 12 o'clock class. Perfectly fine, perfectly smooth. It, Monday through Thursday, that's just the schedule, right? Ignore that.
Everything good on your end?
Ignore that. I'm doing a lot of hand motions.
Got it.
So, that's my usual schedule. But on Wednesday, I got woken up at 10 a.m. by this loud fucking drill. And if you want to have an idea of what it sounded like on my end, Corey, watch out.
I'm taking off my headphones. I can already visualize the wave form of that.
That's what my ears experienced in the morning.
Jesus.
And it's just this loud fucking drill. And it was so fucking loud, it legit sounded like it was coming from inside my room when it wasn't. It just completely pierced through any walls, any doors, just everything. And
Did you figure out what the drill was for or from?
I'll get to that. And I'm thinking to myself, is my fridge about to fucking explode? Is my computer overclocked to the nth degree? And I'm looking around because it sounds like an alarm is going off, but it's a drill. And I remember one of my roommates woke up to a drilling noise the day before when no one else was in the suite, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, oh, this is probably something he might know about. So I walk out of my room, and I see my roommate had also left his room, and he's got his phone out, and he's got it pointed to the ceiling. Now, a little fun fact detail. Against what the podcast would let you believe, I wear glasses, right? My vision's not terrible, but I wear glasses. But I didn't have them on, so I see my blurry roommate kind of in the distance with his phone to the ceiling. I look up and there's something on the ceiling. Another fun fact, we have a cat. And I'm oh, he's probably taking a video to record the sounds wherever it's coming from. And he probably pinpointed on the ceiling, and he made a little joke sticking a cat toy to the ceiling, haha, he stopped the sound. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the loud drilling noise comes back. Feel free to reuse the audio if you want to really annoy our audience.
No, I think one's enough.
And I noticed what I thought was a cat toy, it starts spinning really fast, and it gets longer and longer. And I realized that's not something stuck to the ceiling, that's something going through the ceiling. And it, I'll send you two pictures, because the one that I took previously that's 6 inches of drill, just sticking out of the ceiling.
Yeah.
And then there's the picture I sent you, which is like 3 to 4 feet of drill through the
Yeah, it's a
ceiling.
really fucking long drill bit.
Yeah. Third fun fact of the day. You're learning a lot about this. My roommate's dad is like a construction worker who like builds houses and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he he basically confirmed that's like a concrete drill that you use to drill through like concrete walls and floors.
What?
Now,
What was it doing at the Emerson dorms?
it gets better. My roommate, whose room was like closer to the door that leads out to like the main hallway, he heard someone like from outside being like, keep going, a little further, keep going. And goes and gets the guy, and is like, hey, there's a drill in our suite. And the guy comes in, looks at the ceiling, sees like the 4 feet of drill, and is like, huh. And then goes and gets the guy and tells him to stop. And then the drill slowly goes back up.
Were they like trying to drill in between like the walls or whatever?
I don't know. We don't know. And here's the thing. People came back to inspect the hole that they made in our fucking ceiling. And they lifted up some of the panels that our like hallway ceiling has, because part of it's like, you know, the push-up like tile kind of thing.
Yeah.
I only remember them pointing out 2 things, not specifically to me, just like to each other. There's a steel beam somewhere up there, which, you know, classic. But then there's this yellow cable that's running along the length of the hallway. The drill, I shit you not, is like less than a foot away from that cable. I don't know what it is for, but whatever it is, it could have gone fucking caught in the drill. Because apparently they're already missing their mark if they're like drilling through our suite. So like they're lucky they didn't hit any cables or pipes along the way, wherever they were going.
I'm just imagining, cause like my side of the story is that I have like a group chat with Ethan and Jake, and I saw a message from Jake at 10 a.m. and I'm like, someone fucking died. There is no way that he's awake right now for like, you know, no other reason. And I look at the chat and I just see a giant drill bit like going through your ceiling, like right in front of the bathroom mirror.
Mm-hmm.
And I just start laughing really fucking hard, because I'm just imagining like you just coming out of your room being like, what the fuck? And then like pulling out your phone, sending it to the chat, and just be like, yeah, you know, just having a good morning. And then a fucking drill went through my suite.
I like forget exactly how like I worded it, but like, yeah, don't you just hate it when someone drills into your fucking dorm?
Yeah, it's don't you just hate it when someone drills into your fucking dorm? Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. And then Ethan replied with, it's the underminer.
But it's the overminer. Now, like, ignoring the fact that that drill could have killed someone if they were underneath it.
Yeah.
Especially if the person was, like, deaf after listening to the fucking drill. Or someone had been, like, asleep. Thank God Emerson doesn't have bunk beds. But, like, like, you know, ignoring the fact someone could have been killed, and ignoring the fact that serious damage could have been done to property, especially considering it was definitely long enough to go through, like, a dresser if it had been in, like, a bedroom. Like, ignoring that as well, I think most people go to college expecting not to have construction going through their dorm, just as, like, a general guideline.
To be fair, it's Boston. Construction happens everywhere and anytime.
Whoa. Thank you for that segue. Because, here's a fun fact about Emerson that doesn't have to do with
Wait,
drill.
is this your original like segue or no?
No. But,
Okay.
so, you're aware, as someone who goes to Boston occasionally, that there's that one sidewalk along, like, the Emerson campus that's always under construction?
Yeah, with the theater?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We get weekly updates on the progress made to the sidewalk in the form of, like, dates and times of when construction's going to be taking place. Like regularly weekly copy paste updates on the sidewalk progress. We had no fucking idea that there was drilling literally right above us on the top floor. And it literally went into our suite, and we didn't know about it until it was in our suite. And even still, we don't know why it happened or what they're doing up there.
What if they just sent an email out and they were just like, yeah, sorry about that, but don't worry.
Oh, they sent an email about it. They sent an email after... I thought it would be funny to send a picture to my mom. Just the picture of the 4 feet of drill sticking out of the ceiling with no caption or context at 10 in the morning.
What'd she say?
Her first comment was, did a narwhal land on your roof? And then the second was, what the fuck is that?
Dude,
which is a perfect description of what my mom is.
That's such a your mom reaction.
Like, just those 2 comments are perfectly what my mom are. Was that a narwhal? And what the fuck?
Dude, your mom's great. It's like, I can imagine that in her voice.
And then, from there, she sent it to my dad, who, like, lingers on, like, the Emerson, like, parent Facebook group. And he got a bunch of parents mad about it, because, you know, dead children and stuff. And then...
what he did is he
common
ended up
college
photoshopping
decency.
children on it. He ended up photoshopping children on the ends of the drill bits with bleeding eyes. And that's what got them riled up.
I also told my mom that, like, it's a concrete drill, apparently, according to my roommate's dad. And my mom's like, I thought it was a student kebab. Close enough. But after that, my mom emailed the housing people and told me, like, I'm gonna email the housing people because this isn't okay, and knows I'm not gonna do anything because I'm not a little baby.
I'm a grown man. If a drill bit wants to stab me through the head,
I go to Valhalla willingly. But, like, she emailed the housing department, who then emailed her back, and then emailed me and both my roommates because they knew, like, what room it happened in. And I swear to God, the apology is basically just a giant whoops.
Yeah, they're like, oops, the drill bit slipped.
Like, if the email back and forth between my mom and the housing department were like a conversation, it would have been like, hey, a drill went through someone's suite. And then they were like, whoops. And they were like, someone could have, like, died or gone hurt. And they're like, could have. But didn't.
They didn't.
And they're like, oh, this is like, sorry for the inconvenience, like, the construction people's, confirmed that this is an isolated incident. Like, there couldn't be a problem with an isolated incident.
Yeah, like an incident that they had no knowledge of going on?
Yeah. Just...
Jake, did someone put a hit out on you? Did you, like, just prevent, assassination?
No.
Is this the next level of the coffee incident, where now it's going to be, like, you squarely avoiding death?
Oh, yeah. Now that they know where I live, and they know my class schedule in the morning.
You're going to be walking to your next class, and a fucking wrecking ball will come out of nowhere. Like,
it's gonna be like Shaun the Dead, where I'm just walking around and there's, like, shit going on around me, but I'm just kind of, like, ignoring it.
Yeah, the entire zombie apocalypse occurs and you're just like, damn, I gotta get that paper in. Like,
this is some good cold brew French press coffee.
Oh my god. You're very happy that you have the French press.
I am, and not so happy that there's still a hole in my ceiling.
Patch it up with coffee beans, and then run a fan. It'll smell nice.
Dude, have you seen the people who take, like, ramen and, like,
and they like shave they shave it into like the side of broken things? Dude, I wish, like, okay, you have to think about what's going through their head, where they just decide for whatever reason, you see this broken chair, fucking top ramen, let's go. Like, like, I think the most I think the most impressive one that I found was this guy took a watermelon that he like took a giant bite out of and replaced it with ramen and painted it so it looked perfect, and he left it at a supermarket.
I think
And
one of my favorite examples was like a joke, and I don't even remember. It was definitely a joke, and I don't remember
was it
if it was
was the one about the heart with the ramen on it?
No, it was about like someone took like a coin, like a penny or something, and then they put that in like a pickle, and then covered that up, and then put that into like a bigger like a squash or something, and then they put that into like an arm of like a bench to like hide the coin and be like, haha, no one can find it or steal it. And they just kept like refilling it.
I think I saw that one actually.
Yeah.
Like I think that is a video.
It is a video. I don't remember the exact like order of things, but it's like 3 levels of fruit involved, like hiding a coin in like a a chair or a bench.
Yeah. That's like have you ever seen, there's this video or like a few videos on YouTube that I found of this guy who has like, you know those 3D drawing pens that work like, you know, mini 3D printers where you can just like take the filament and like and like draw with it like that. He just walks around like anywhere with like walls, and he fills in the cracks in walls with that 3D pen. And like you see the whole process of them just like making the basic framework and then doing the actual cross stitch part around, and you just in the end it's just like a perfect brick that's super solid. And it's like one, what like compels you to do this, and also how did you like how long did it take for you to figure out like how to go about that, like to in such a specific way that it would work?
Like imagine that being just like a construction tool to like fix stuff. Like a hole in a ceiling. It will be someday.
It will definitely be someday. Like with how popular 3D printing has become over the past few years, like now it's more accessible than ever to like get, well, I say more accessible than ever in the sense that like 3D printers don't cost thousands of dollars anymore.
And like I know they're usually in like more populated and like bigger city areas, but like there are places where you can just like go and use 3D printers, like almost like renting one out, or you can like print stuff out and just pay for the stuff it takes to like print it, and like you don't even have to buy one.
High school had it.
Our high school had. Well, I think it was technically the middle school
that I went to has it. Like it's a big important piece of modern technology.
And then like I forget the name of it, but there's like a place in Boston that does 3D printing stuff that I went to over winter session, which is a throwback to Souhegan.
I remember because you got a bust of yourself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't Ryan go on that one?
No. Let's see. There was,
I forget who.
Me. I don't want to out a bunch of people for being fucking nerds.
Fucking nerds.
I also forget most of them.
Nice. Meanwhile, I ran around Lexington, Concord, Boston, and New York playing a poor man's version of the Amazing Race. But it was fun, like being able to experience the cities, especially when at that age, like I never had been to New York and Boston. I'd only ever gone to like very specific parts for like concerts and stuff with my family. I still think my absolute favorite memory from that entire weekend was there was torrential downpour at one point when we were in Boston, and one of the hints that we got for because with the thing that we did geocaching, there's stamps hidden all around the US, and you get hints on where to get it and what to do. Some of them involve like going into businesses and like learn about the history of them, or they're just like hidden in plain sight kind of thing. There was one that was at a 5-star hotel, and I think the best part of that entire trip was, imagine me, a soggy sophomore, like just the absolutely drenched from the rain, like shoes filled with rainwater, like sloshing their way through a 5-star like hotel that like is just full of people wearing 3-piece suits and fancy dresses, and I just waddle up to the front counter and I'm like, do you guys have a stamp? Like, and I'm just be like, excuse me, oh hold on, and I pass them a soggy piece of paper that explains what geocaching is, and they're just like, we've never heard of this, but thank you for letting us know. And I'm like, okay. And then I ran outside, and it turned out that the group found the stamp while I was inside making a fool of myself. Like, it was hidden like underneath like one fake plant thing that was on the wall.
I just like I don't know why it's reminding me of this, but I'm imagining that scene going back to Ruby again. It reminds me of that scene with like baby Ren in it, and he's trying to get sake for his dad. Just like the sake, please.
Yeah, sake, please.
And you're little Ren, but you're soaking wet.
Yeah, no, I just go, could I get a stamp, please? I also
geocache.
I remember at one point during that trip, I was very tired, but we were running to like try to get like onto the subway to get back to like because we were in Queens. We needed to get back to the main city and like back to the hostel. And I just so vividly remember as I was running like to the subway with like the rest of the classmates, I just remember this, and I don't know why. I just hear a guy. I just remember I heard some random guy. He was like with a group of friends, I assumed, and they were just like walking away from the subway, and he just screamed, "Run, white boy, run!" And I was like, yes! And I just like got a huge burst of speed and just rushed up the stairs. Like, I don't know why I remember that detail so vividly, but like, hey, to the random man that was, can't English, to the random guy who screamed that, thank you for letting me realize that I can be a sprinter.
And look where you are now.
Yeah, sitting in my basement recording a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, Jake, do you want to still do your segue thing? I know we're like 20 minutes in now.
What segue?
You said that you had a plan for a segue, but then you were like, oh, I need to talk about the drill.
Oh no, you used the segue by talking, what was it, for the email? Yeah, they wrote an email, and like, yeah, that was it. I was going to talk about that part, but that was like a segue, because you were like, oh, I wonder, imagine if they sent an email back, and I'm like, but they did.
Oh,
and
gotcha.
That was all the segue was.
Oh, well, see, there we go. That was smart.
But you know what could be a segue? Back in high school, I was a Boy Scout. And
yes,
now
you were a Boy Scout.
And now the Boy Scouts are bankrupt.
They're bankrupt?
They filed for bankruptcy.
I mean,
you wanna know how?
What do you mean how?
I'll give you a hint. Rape allegations.
Oh.
There's
I'll
a
get
lot.
You.
There's a lot of them.
Well, yeah, and also, I mean, popcorn versus cookies. What are you going to invest in?
But yeah, I read that apparently they filed for bankruptcy, but like it's very unclear because no one knows how to get like numbers right. Because they're like, oh, the Boy Scouts of America only have like, like $50,000, and it's like, no, that's just like one state. I think that's like Delaware has $50,000 in total.
Yeah, no.
When like the entire organization has like $1 trillion at least.
Yeah, I mean, it's been around for decades. My dad was a Boy Scout.
It's been around for a decade. This year was the 110th anniversary.
Damn.
I know that because I joined the Boy Scouts in 2010, and that was on the 100-year anniversary. I got a special little fucking handkerchief and everything.
Yeah.
It's
like
2010.
I like the idea that you secretly wear the handkerchief underneath your jacket. That's why you always wear your jacket.
When I'm like sad in the rain, I take it out of my pocket and just like sniff it to remember the good old days.
You sniff it,
And wipe
clutch
away
it in
the
your
tears.
hands. Yeah, a tear goes down your cheek, and then the clouds part ways, and the sun opens up.
The sun opens up and then hands a lawsuit to me about about all the things that happens in Boy Scouts.
Yeah, they pass you a piece of paper that asks, "Were you diddled?" Circle 1.
Like, it's so weird because when it comes to Boy Scouts, there's literally two different kinds of stories you'll hear. Either like it was the best time of your life with amazing life experiences with incredible people along the way, both like other scouts and adults and things like that, or you were diddled, and that's the only two options. There is no middle ground.
But really? You would think that there'd be a bit more diversity in like the stories and stuff, because like
No,
I
you
can
either
imagine
love
that
it
there-
or you were like molested, and that's it.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's because I love the idea behind the organization of like, camping, outdoor skills, things like that. Like I feel like those are important things, especially
I don't
when,
think
like,
I would have been as into the outdoors if it weren't for Boy Scouts. And
Yeah,
it definitely prepared me in terms of like it's kind of like joke stuff you would write on your resume to fill in the space, but like it really does help you with like leadership and taking control of things and being responsible and like making sure you follow safety precautions on very important things.
Yeah, because like at the end of the day, it's super, super important that like, you have those skills. And I feel like that organization, like the main idea behind it was to encourage like, being practical.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, the
And-
scouts, they
Anyway.
do everything. Like, if there's a camp out, like, the scouts are the ones who get the permissions, figure out how people are getting there, what people are eating, how they're cooking it, who's cleaning, who's setting up all the stuff, who's bringing all the stuff, who's paying for all the stuff, how are we going to fund all of this. That is all done by the scouts. Like, if you're scouting right, none of the adults are doing anything other than driving the kids who don't know how to drive, and that's about it.
Yeah, it's essentially, with the way that that's described, it's like how First Robotics was, but
Yeah.
for nature. Because First Robotics, the way that First is approached is that, yes, you have mentors, yes, you have, like, the faculty who kind of guide as far as, like, if there's questions, they'll answer it and that kind of thing. However, the robot, the code, the t-shirt designs, everything involved in the team for that given season are all decided by the students.
And like,
And so like I love that because it gives you that sense of independence that you normally don't get at that age.
and like the great thing about it are like some like smaller things I remember is like Boy Scouts is very like outdoorsy, but like there's a fingerprinting merit badge that we decided to do by like basically making an appointment with like a police station and being like, hey, can you teach us about fingerprints? And we just decided to do that like all on our own. We did that.
That's really cool.
We went to like we got the dentistry merit badge. We did rock climbing at like an indoor rock climbing place. Like there's tons of stuff that like you can do in it that like aren't even completely outdoorsy as much as like it focuses on like being outdoors, but yeah.
Yeah, like that's the main focus, but there's a lot of things that like allow for flexibility. That's why the Boy Scouts are able to exist. Well, were able to exist.
I
in
think
so
like
many
there's
different
still like
environments.
going on in like, cause like it sounds bad for, it kind of is bad for them to declare bankruptcy, but like that's just like the big, like I don't even know like what to call it, but like the organization as a whole, but it's not
So like the
necessarily
figureheads.
yeah, like and like the official administration, but I don't know how much it's actually going to affect like individual troops in towns. Because, like, they can still just
I think-
do their own shit.
Yeah, I think they'll still be able to do their own shit. It's just about like figuring out different ways of fundraising, because I know that didn't like the Boy Scouts have that direct line with that popcorn company?
Probably, yeah.
So like they would either have to communicate that themselves or figure out a different way to raise funds. But yeah, I really hope that like, even though like, you know, that the Boy Scouts, as far as like being an official like kind of figurehead, with like the idea of, you know, like camping or whatever when you're a kid, I hope that there are still like communities and things like that that will stick around and continue to encourage kids to like, you know, experience the outdoors, learn more about the world around them, like things like that, because I honestly am very jealous of like people who were able to do scouts when they were a kid. I didn't do it personally. I really regret that, because I would have loved to, like, you know, go camping and experience things with like you know, like fellow scouts or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like that would have helped me like learn more about the world, so I wouldn't be as confused with a lot of the things later on.
Mm-hmm. You, you want to hear a hot take of mine? It's probably, I know it's fairly controversial, and I know I'm not on the classic right side of it.
Mhm.
Did you hear that a couple years back they let girls into the Boy Scouts?
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of that decision.
And honestly, I kind of agree with how you feel about it.
Because with any
yeah, well, go ahead.
like a super simplified way to explain my reasoning is people will talk about how like it allows girls to get into like, you know, the outdoorsy, more like masculine stuff and like go against like that gender binary and things like that.
Just do that in the Girl Scouts.
Yeah, if only there were like a scouting organization for people who aren't boys.
It's not even like
Because like if they're upset with I'm probably going to make a lot of false generalizations because I was never a Girl Scout. But like if they're tired of what do they do? Like they do sewing and they do like I'm assuming like home ec kind of stuff. Like
Girl Scouts focuses a lot more on like domestic type things.
yeah.
They do some things with nature. I know that
Like-
much, at least.
Like
At least the troop that my little sister was in.
yeah. They do a lot of that like home ec stuff you do in like middle school or high school, I'm guessing. But like
If you okay, this is how I feel. The title of Scouts is in like your organization's name. Scouts are people who go outside and scout.
yeah.
They don't just stick at like I
Like the
understand.
Boy Scouts, I might be remembering this wrong, but I'm pretty sure the Boy Scouts came around as like a thing that happened between Americans and like Native Americans, and they're like mingling together. Eventually, made the Scouts of America, and then eventually like went down to the children as the Boy Scouts of America.
Yeah.
So like
I
they have
like-
those very like old ties, but like
Yeah.
the thing is
What
like
I
if the
would like-
if the girls aren't happy about what they're doing in Girl Scouts, you should change Girl Scouts, not
Yeah,
move
it's
them
not about like
to what the guys are doing because it's
like,
better.
it's not about abandoning like the organization that you already have that's like a juggernaut. I mean, how many people do you know that like buy Girl Scout cookies when that season comes around? A ton of
Exactly.
people do.
They're
like-
not gonna
like
go
you got-
bankrupt anytime soon.
Yeah, you got money to burn, and you have a system that people are abandoning because they aren't able to do everything that they would want to, and fucking incorporate that into like whatever the hell curriculum you have.
Because like
Like,
here's the
even-
thing, like
Mhm.
as a former Boy Scout, I can tell you, if we wanted to just like sit around someone's house and sew for like an entire day, they would have let us do that. Like, why can't the
Exactly.
Girl Scouts have that same freedom of choice amongst the scouts that are in that organization?
It's people who run that company that are all about like tradition, like keeping the tradition alive. Selling the cookies is a tradition. Doing
Which
certain things in the company is a tradition, and because of like that idea of like being as true to the original formula exists, that's why you get problems now where it's like your program is dated, you are not adapting, people are abandoning it. That's just how it works.
and like I can get that like, you know, sticking to traditions, especially like in today's world, can be very like dicey in terms of like it's not like political correctness,
It's more
but,
about
it-
like
yeah,
like I know what you're trying
It's
to
very,
say.
like,
It's not
divisive.
about like political correctness. It's more about like
Yeah.
what's relevant in this given age.
And like to be fair, you really like there's kind of two parts to it. Like in Boy Scouts, like I think everyone can agree, whether or not like they admit it, that there's like something different about hanging around people that are like you. Like you can be like a different person, and there's something like somewhat comforting about like being in Boy Scouts and like knowing that like like you're just hanging with the boys. Like
Yeah.
obviously there's like nothing wrong with like mixing, like there's no problem with that. But, like there's
Yeah,
something
I
different
get what
about
you're
it, especially when you're going through like puberty at that age, because that's literally like when you're in Boy Scouts, which would probably lead to even like more problems than there are now between the kids and the adults.
Yeah, like again, this is for the perspective of an outsider looking in. I just think that the way that the companies are structured in general, I feel like it's inherently flawed.
Yeah.
Because each one has like set like kind of expectations and like certain notes that they have to hit. Like Boy Scouts is going to be a lot of outdoors macho type stuff, whereas the Girl Scouts is going to be more domestic focused. I think that depending on what the giving group of like girls or boys that you have for either like, you know, group or troop or whatever, I think depending on what they are interested in, that should be what is focused on. It shouldn't be like, oh, you're in Girl Scouts, so that means we're going to learn about cross stitches today. No, it should be like, hey, you kids want to go camping? Let's figure out like survival skills. Like that's
well, I want to
interesting.
learn about cross stitching, and they would have let us do
Yeah.
that in Boy Scouts. Hell, I went to a summer camp one year for Boy Scouts, and I swear to God, actually, a number of the things I did at that summer camp, which is in like the middle of nowhere in New Hampshire, in the middle of the woods, I've taken, and I'm not shitting you, I've taken a chess merit badge, I've taken a space exploration merit badge, and I took a radio merit badge, which are like the least campy, outdoorsy things you could think of to do in the middle of the woods. Like Boy Scouts just lets you do whatever you want and make it productive. Like,
Yeah.
I don't see why Girl Scouts couldn't be the same thing with girls, with just having that, like, one divide that I don't think needs to be, like, intermingled, like, with each
I
other.
think they should adopt the same sort of like badge system as well as the same sort of like maybe a similar curriculum, like maybe still keep the options of like, you know, doing more domestic stuff, but have like, you know, making fires, like get a badge for that, like, you know,
Or, like, go on
learn how to
regular
pitch
camping
tent.
trips, or go on hikes,
Yeah.
or, like, literally whatever, like, they decide
Because
to
the
do.
big thing about these companies in general is that it's about building up the confidence in the kids that are in it, and like making them feel, you know, like, oh, we're accomplishing a lot and we're learning more about the world around us, and we want to contribute back to it. If you're like promoting a program that actively deters people from joining, then what's the point?
Like, one of the things that I feel like Scouts prepared me for, like, whether it's intentional or not, is, like, it kind of taught me that, like, you may not be, like, a key integral part to something, but that doesn't mean your role isn't important. Like,
Exactly.
in Scouts, here's some structure for you. Usually, troops that are made up of, like, you know, scouts from a particular town that are belonging to a particular troop, they will split into patrols. They're basically like mini troops that function separately in like campouts and activities, but still like function within the same troop, kind of like towns in a state, sort of.
Yeah.
And those patrols will usually have different leadership positions, and you'll have like your classic like patrol leader, for example. But some of the ones that I remember was a librarian, which is what I was, who's like the person who keeps all of the merit badge books and keeps all of like the logs of, you know, the more like official paperwork and things like that, and keeps track of, you know, what books do we have, what don't we have, what do we need to order more of, what do we need to order like new because they're outdated and old, like things like that. And then there's There's other roles like the bugler. Uh, there's a webmaster position. And then there can be like more general things like cook or clean up and things like that. That my troop kind of ignored because we were too small for patrol, so we were just kind of one giant big patrol, but we're also like really relaxed, so we didn't really pay attention to a lot of it. I was just given books and called a librarian.
I love the idea of you just being like, wow, what does a librarian do? And they just throw books at you.
But like when you're the person who like doesn't really do much for a campsite, but you're the one that cleans all of like the dishes and the mess kits after meals, like you're not doing something like huge, but it's something that needs to be done, and you're like okay with that because you're doing your part while everyone else is doing theirs.
Yeah, because
and
like,
you're fine with that. Like you don't have to be like the big, like oh, I have to
You
do all
don't
this
gotta be
stuff.
the
I have to
leader,
like carry
you
my
don't
weight.
gotta
Like no,
be-
you just have to
yeah.
do what needs to be done, and once you've done it, you've done your part.
Yeah, and that's like a very important life skill.
Yeah, like working with a group and being able to like communicate, like okay, I'm gonna do this, like you do that, like having all of those leadership position roles that like again in like a resume you would use that to like fill things out and like make yourself sound better, but they're genuinely things they teach you about like how to do and how to live your life.
Yeah, I'm surprised that I'm this passionate about like an organization that I never really had direct like involvement in, but like I can at least say from someone whose dad was an Eagle Scout, like it just stories he would tell me about his camping experiences, and he showed me like the different awards they got. He talked about the jamborees that he went to.
Oh yeah, the jamborees. Did he tell you about his Arrow of Light?
Yes.
Yep. I have my Arrow of Light from transitioning from Cub Scout to Boy Scout still like hanging in my room. That like
It's a big moment.
yeah, it's a huge like ceremonial moment that just like even though it's the stupidest thing of like graduating from the thing that your parents like completely run for you to like Boy Scouts, like it's still like a huge moment.
Yeah. It's like how they have those graduation ceremonies for middle schoolers. Like
and actually it's funny you bring that up because that like crossing over ceremony from Cub Scouts to Boy Scouts happened to me before I graduated from elementary school to middle school. So that was like my first ceremony I'd ever been to.
I think the first ceremony I ever officially was at was well, at least ones that I can remember was when my my Destination Imagination team, I think we either placed first or second for like the regionals, and we were going to state for like our finals. And I wasn't paying attention at all because I was still absolutely gassed that I won the raffle for a free t-shirt. Like I was just like looking at the t-shirt and I was like, oh my god, it has an iguana on it. Then all of a sudden I hear our team name. I forget the team name. I still have like a framed photo of like everybody who was in the team back then. But like I remember I just hear the name and I just look over and I see my friend's dad. His eyes are wide and are just like, Corey, go up, get your medal, go up. Like just freaking out. And then just me like hearing a bunch of people cheering and clapping for us and just feeling like, oh my god, I made it. When really it's just some like little competition that nobody would really care about, like outside of like people in the program.
Yeah.
But that still meant so much.
That reminded me that like normally scout troop patrols would have like names given to them, but because my troop was too small to make like multiple patrols, we in air quotes like treated ourselves as a giant patrol. And whenever we would go to jamborees, they would ask like what your patrol name is when you would like go and do activities. I don't think we ever used the same name twice. I think we just made it up every time on the spot. Like
Hey,
we would just be like,
works,
yeah,
works.
we're patrol Red Bandicoot. We're patrol Leotard. Yeah.
We're patrol Yellow Spider. And it's like, okay, Yellow Spider. Like, the canoes are over there. And it's like, okay.
And then they'd be like, and the fastest time was Orange Badoni. And it's like, Orange Badoni. Oh,
Orange
okay, that's
Badoni.
us. That's us.
Yeah, yeah. Like, they're completely silent, and then they're like, well, come up and get the award. It's like, oh, got it. Right, that's
I don't
us.
remember what the name was that we used, but that happened because the jamborees usually have like a theme to them, and one of them was Zombie Apocalypse, and I shit you not, I was the best fucking tomahawk thrower there was.
Seriously?
The best fucking thrower.
Was that why you were telling me to buy throwing axes when I had that gift card?
Maybe. Like, I don't even know, like, I literally just remember, like, throwing it, and it just, like, sticks, like, just off-center from the middle, but, like, just level with it, like, horizontally. And like, I hit, the greatest thing was, we got 3 tomahawks. I hit the first one, and it's, like, slightly off-center. And then I throw the second one, it misses, but it gets into one of the legs that was supporting the stump that made up like the main target. The third one hits like kind of, it's like above the bullseye and a little bit off to like the other side from the first tomahawk, but the target falls over. So, and like it had
So
a
it's like
picture of
you
like a
killed
zombie
it.
on it. Exactly. It's like I guess we killed it. It just fell over.
Dude,
And I'm pretty sure
can
I
you
might have
teach me how to throw tomahawks?
like I might have been the only person in like our troop to hit all 3 axes.
Jake, we need to go to one of those axe throwing places.
I would love to go to one of those.
I've wanted to go to one, and I don't know who would be. Do you think Ethan would be down?
Oh fuck yeah.
Dude, that's the plan. That's going to be what happens during break.
Oh my god.
We're going to go and throw axes.
I can't wait for like my skill to just completely degrade.
Dude,
Maybe
I have spaghetti arms. I don't know what the fuck to do.
maybe my Viking blood will fuel me.
I know there's a way to throw it with one hand, but let's face it, I will not be able to.
Like all I remember is the big thing about it is it's true with like throwing knives too. It's all about the rotation, and that's it.
Yeah.
So like people who do it like professionally, well obviously people who do it professionally, but even people who do it like regularly, it's all about like it all depends on the distance, how much spin you put onto it. And it sounds very complicated because it kind of is. And I know I was not thinking about that back at the jamboree.
All you were thinking about was this fucking zombie going to get it. Like
All I remember was like it stuck the first time and I'm like, I need to replicate that as close as fucking possible. And just like hope it hit something, and it did.
Dude, it's stories like that that make me really wish that I went to like any Boy Scout thing.
Yeah. I mean, you
sounds
you can't technically go to Boy Scout things, but there's no reason you couldn't like go camping.
Well, that's another thing. I've never been camping.
You need to go camping.
I would love to go camping. That's another thing. Well, Jake, think of it this way. Most of my friends, like, don't leave their houses. Like...
Dude, I would recommend, if you're going to get, like, a tent for camping, don't be an idiot and get a one-person tent, because that's basically just a cocoon, and it's not fun. But if you...
Well, yeah, you always get, like, a size up.
Yeah, because if you get like a 2-person tent, it fits perfectly for you and like a backpack of stuff, like a hiking backpack of stuff. And then more obviously for like more people, or one of the people, one of the scouts whose father eventually became the scoutmaster, they would have like a big 6-person tent for the 2 of them. It had like a part in the front that was like a bug net that basically made itself into like a porch, like patio for the tent.
Oh yeah, I've seen those.
And they
before.
would bring like cots to set up inside the tents with their sleeping bags. And they would bring like, you know, space heaters if it was cold in like the fall or the winter. And like they would bring like they were like just...
They had a generator and a GameCube and a TV. They had Smash
they
Bros.
had a TV sometimes. They were legit
Seriously?
like a step down from like just legit bringing like a Winnebago or like a camper, like just a single step down in like a tent.
That's another thing that I want to do someday. I want to get a Winnebago and just like travel cross country.
Yeah.
I would love. Gosh, there's so many like. It's weird because you hear about like, or like, you know, the plots of like every like 90s family trip movie, which is all the families in a Winnebago, hilarity ensues.
Dude, never
and the
forget
kids don't want to
RV.
go. Oh, are we there yet?
Are we there yet?
But
yeah.
like it's weird because you hear like you look at those movies and it's like kids back then dreading to go on those road trips and things like that, and then meanwhile me nowadays is like, fuck yeah, I want a road trip. I want to find an excuse to like drive for like days across the country and like go somewhere I've never been before.
Like the kids always dread it, and then like we have people, they're like, hey, do you want to like take a trip down to like Florida to say hi to someone? And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, like I mean, I have like there's this huge online community of like friends that I have, and we have this idea of like driving around the entire country to say hi to everybody, and like I'm still trying to route that out, and if it works out, then that'd be amazing. I mean, my number one dream would be to drive, maybe not nonstop, but like drive straight down to Florida and spend a week in Vero Beach, because my family, there's a place that we stay in around there. I would love to do that and then just drive back, like just take a week out of the out of my summer and just do that.
Dude, I remember all of like the online friends that I've met at places like PAX, when like we all get together and just like take some time like together. Usually when our group like splits up, no matter how much we want to stick together, but we always like separate.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Speaking of which, PAX is coming up. That was my segue if you didn't catch on to that.
yeah, it's actually good that you're bringing this up
Yeah, because
now.
it's next week.
Yeah, it's next. It's not this upcoming weekend from when we're recording. It's the next weekend. So yeah, like we'll probably get into more like not really PAX predictions, but more of stuff that we're hoping to see there like next week, since that'll be like, you know, the few days leading up to it. But at the very least, I am going to be attending this year. Originally it was up in the air about whether or not I was going to be able to go, but now I'm going for sure. I'm super excited.
Because Ace Watkins is going to be there.
I will meet him. I need to. I love him. For anyone who doesn't know, Ace Watkins is he's affiliated with the Hard Times, right? Like that parody news.
Yeah, the Hard Times, or like Hard Drive something.
Yeah, I think it's the Hard Times.
Yeah.
But they're like in the same vein as the Onion, and so they've created a character named Ace Watkins who strives to be the first gamer president, and he has a podcast that I listen to, which is hilarious. His Twitter feed is incredible. My favorite tweet of his is when he gets elected into office, he's going to throw a Constitution saving throw.
Yeah, Constitution saving throw.
Yeah.
There was some like other really good ones, like I want to say, I think he was talking about like Pete Buttigieg, and he's like, you know, Buttigieg brags about all the languages he speaks, but he doesn't speak Simlish, but everything he says sounds like gibberish.
Yeah. The other one that I remember, well, I don't even think it was it wasn't even a tweet. It was the description for the PAX like thing. It was just like, remember, not solo, like group or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like to the extent of like, not a solo queue, it's a group thing. Like, I love it.
Oh my god, there's one
I
that I read
him.
like today.
Yeah.
It was just amazing. I want to pull it up just because it made Oh my.
But I want to meet him, and I want to try to ask him a question during his panel, and I'm going to ask him about the current state of Blizzard and if he thinks that they could ever regain the trust of the gaming population.
I feel like with a name like Blizzard, it should be asked as if it's like an actual like problem with like blizzards, just like in America.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask her, just like, with the current condition of the Blizzard in America, do you think they could ever come back to where they used to be? Like, I don't know. I gotta think of how to word it.
I found the tweet.
Or I could just stutter through it like the Barney impression video.
Oh yeah. So
I love you. Next question.
A tweet from February 17th is a real gamer president must represent all the gamers, not just the elites. That means the noobs, the fucking trash, the scrubs, the button mashers who drag down the whole squad and should probably just quit. Look around. Are you willing to fight for the shitty gamer beside you?
Because that's like the Bernie Sanders ad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
you know, not just the elites, and he just the noobs, the fucking trash. Are you willing to stand up for them?
Dude, he's so funny. And like, that's legit the only panel that I'm really going to be going to.
Like, he's an actual, like, whoever came up with this is an actual genius. And comes up with these like regular like tweets that happen like multiple times a day.
Dude, his podcast is fantastic. I highly recommend listening to it.
Oh yeah.
Other than that, I mean, obviously, if any of you who are listening are going to be at PAX this year, if you see either Jake or I on the floor, Jake will probably be wearing glasses and he'll probably look like trash. Feel free to stop and say hi. Like, I don't really know if there would be anybody that does, but it'd be pretty cool. If anything, if you're going to PAX, enjoy it. If not, we're going to be doing our sort of like review and wrap up the week after, which will be a lot of fun. And also, we're going to be recording something a little special before we actually go to PAX. So keep an eye out for that.
We need to put our country's talented Skyrim modders to work revitalizing our roads and cities. Together, we can HD remaster America.
He's so fucking funny.
GamerPrez so 2020.
Dude, imagine if somehow he all of a sudden just shot through the polls and like was going up against Trump.
Oh my god, I would love that, but
I want to see him and Trump debate.
Oh
I want to see that. That'd be so incredible.
Please.
He would just be like, he'd just be like, Don is like, Mr. Trump, I'm sorry, it looks like the gamma on your monitor is a little off. You look a little red. You might want to adjust that before we continue. Like, or something.
It's okay, Mr. Trump. I can respect someone who clicks randomize on their character.
Oh my god. Why can't I imagine that in his voice and like his little like mannerisms too?
Yeah.
Regardless. Is there anything else this episode that we should talk about?
I mean, we're like almost an hour.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. Well, I'm almost at an hour because I recorded like an extra minute.
Yeah, which I'm probably not going to use unless I like find a way to incorporate it to the very end.
Yeah, come up with something real clever and funny and
absolutely
edit intensive.
Yeah, Jake.
Yeah.
I'll do what I can. Okay. There's only so much that this computer will let me do.
I know.
Regardless, thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of the Pixel Venture Podcast. I have been Corey.
And
that was a weird thing.
I have not been upset this episode. Except for the drill.
Yeah.
The drill.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Made me upset earlier. But now I'm just tired because my adrenaline's wearing low.
Which is why we're going to probably go to sleep after this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll stay on the call though so you can hear me snore.
Great.
I don't snore.
I love it.
That's the lie.
Dude, we can play Scriblio together until you fall asleep.
I have a sickness.
Liz.
I'm gonna try to recreate that picture and put it up like right here. End the episode. Have a good night, guys.
See ya.